I came up as a homeless kid. I saw a murder, and it was my father murdering my mother. And I was only 5 years of age, and there were 3 other children. I'm the second oldest. Father was illiterate. Mother was illiterate. Because of this murder, about the age of 7, I became a homeless kid. My older brother had left me, and he'd gone, and because of abuse and dysfunctional family and the likes, I became a street kid at the age of 7. But I had a teacher, for whatever reason, Dr. Mamie Laban Foster. I'll never forget her name. Bless her heart, she's now no longer with us. She said, I was in the 1st grade, she said, if you learn to read, you can be anything that you want to be. Anything. And she emphasized, anything, if you learn to read. Although I was a homeless kid, I went into living in a horse stable. I lived in basements, and I didn't have a family, but I continued to learn to read. Over the years, I wondered what would have happened to me if I didn't learn to read, if I didn't get an education. Chances are I would have ended up in prison. To find out what my fate could have been, I spoke with inmates at 2 maximum security prisons. This is their story. Not a good place to be.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, you secluded from everything. I mean, ain't nothing.
I mean, absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
How was your childhood?
Overall, my childhood was a good childhood. I mean, I remember mom and dad, loving on me and doing all that they could for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty much overall good childhood for me. I remember this particular time, Miss Crenshaw asked the class what did we wanted to be when we grew up, and you had all kind of occupations that people wanted to be.
What did Billy say he wanted to be then?
I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh.
I did. I really wanted to be a lawyer.
Wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, you need one now, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You need
Amen.
There's 10 of us, all in all. Us oldest 4, our father got killed in 1970 in a car wreck on my mother's birthday. My mother then became an alcoholic. We were in a children's home for 3 years. I got out when I was 8 years old, and she met a man not long after that who had just got out of prison. And he started dragging us from state to state. He was very abusive to my mother and to us. And then they started having more children, and they are also uneducated. 4 of us has ended up in prison.
Were you high school graduates?
No, sir. I have a 4th grade education.
4th grade?
Yes, sir.
My parents both were uneducated. Neither one of them finished high school at all. They dropped out at an early age in life. They were poor, and they didn't never make it from paycheck to paycheck. You know, they worked all the time. But now, the way they raised me good. They did the best they could with what they had. Actually, I began to learn to read before I even entered school. Between my mom and my first cousin, they began to teach me to read while I was still at home. So I could read a little bit even before starting school.
In the 1st grade?
Yeah, I love to read, man. The dreams I had as a young child growing up, one of those dreams was to own a chain of motels. My mother worked at one, and I always had this dream of owning a chain of them.
You're a young woman now. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. Did you graduate from high school?
No, I didn't.
How far did you get?
Got to the 8th grade.
8th grade. Were your grades good?
Yeah,
You had good grades.
good grades. I started out real good. I mean, doing what my parents told me to do and getting into my learning and all this stuff. It's just that you could pretty much say I went to school on the bad side of town and got caught up with the wrong crowd.
Is it you just didn't want to let your crowd know that you were smart?
You could pretty much say at that time, yeah, it really didn't matter who you hung around. It pretty much made who you was. Like if you were hanging with a popular group, you would try to get with that clique. You wouldn't try to get with this clique that's over here, but you would probably say the lower level.
The lower level. What's the lower
The
level?
lower level is like what they call it nerds, brainiacs, people that read a lot.
Okay. If you were smart, the smarter you were, the lower level you were.
Yes.
At 6th grade, it kind of started turning for me a little bit. Then cigarettes led to marijuana. Marijuana led to beer and wine, and so then that led on to other hardcore drugs like cocaine and things of that nature. So in the 6th grade, like I said, in the 2nd and 3rd grade, when they asked you what you wanted to be when you grow up, everybody had these different occupations that they want to be. But at the 6th grade, at that time, everything that idea that I had about being a lawyer, it slowly started fading away from me.
I didn't want to go to school. I go by school, you know, hang out on the corner with other guys that wasn't going to school.
And your same age.
Right, all older, guys my age or older, cutting class as they called it back then. If I was going to school, I was missing something, you know. When I was in school, and the guys out that wasn't in school looked like they were having a better time.
Oh,
you
come
know?
on.
That's the way it looked.
Yeah, so you went where the fun was, you
Yeah,
thought.
that's why I thought they were having a good time.
Okay.
So I started selling drugs, that's fast money and stuff. I'm very smart, and educated and stuff. I just got kicked out of school and didn't go back, so I just changed over to a different lifestyle. I just got caught up in the wrong, dealings of life. Used to that quick and fast money for which either you're going to end up dead or in jail, one.
When I'm headed to school, I see people going to work or seem like they was headed somewhere. Well, these people were headed to the same place in the neighborhood on the corner on the block where I would see them every day when I got out of school, when I went to school. And it became, I think it was a curiosity, wondering, I've had friends that I knew that used to stand out there with me on those street corners that are dead now. They weren't even 20 years old, 18 years old at the time, and they're dead now.
What do you get on the corner?
Truly, you get nothing from the corner because the corner gonna only lead to, to trouble, death, or a bad situational help. The corner's bad.
Do you regret it now?
Sir?
Do you regret dropping out?
Oh, yes. Yes. I regret losing my dream. I regret that. When I lost my dream, then I got lost.
Tell me about prison life. You said you've learned. Tell me about prison life.
It's everybody's nightmare. Everything that you hold dear in your heart is taken away from you at the back gate. They don't expect you to amount to anything. You're dehumanized in here. You're demoralized. You are stripped of everything. And that's the way of life in prison.
You got to be up at 4 o'clock if you want to go eat breakfast, and then you got to be in compliance about 7, 8 o'clock. You got to get dressed on their time, not on your time.
It's a lot of days are very hard in here, separated from our children, families.
I work now while I'm in here. I make a whole 30 cents an hour sewing clothes.
Prison life. Letting someone else tell you when it's time to go to eat, when you can watch television. And at one point, when I was in another part of the prison, when you can take a shower. Not being able to go outside when you want to, and if you just want to stand in the rain and let it rain all over you, or just stand outside at night, or go outside in the morning, or when you want to, you lose all that.
The food's horrible. You don't get enough sleep. It's not a life for anyone.
Somebody telling you when to get up, when to go to bed, what you're going to eat for the day, and then a meal cycle back to you. A week later, you cycling back and you eating the same thing over again. Who can come visit, not being able to leave. They may get one letter after they get locked up. They may get one, maybe get one. And that's just a letter. They may send a picture. Normally no money.
These people, the longer they're here, the fewer friends and visitors they have. What about their family? What about Mama?
She gets old. Mama gets old. Sister get busy. Brother's busy. Mama would come. Mama called. She will call and talk to me. Want to know if there's any way he can get closer to home. She can't make that trip anymore. She would come more often, but everybody's busy, so can't nobody make her, and she don't want to drive from Birmingham. It's a 4-hour drive for her. She can't drive here by herself. They get old.
If you could see them at night, when they're in their bunk, their hurts, the daughters they left outside, the sons they left outside, the parents they left outside, they would, with tears and much pain, say, get an education, do what your parents say, do not come here.
People who come in who absolutely are illiterate.
Absolutely. See it every day. See guys that have to have other people write their letters. And
Are these young people?
Yeah, some of them young, some of them older, some of them young.
But they still can't read and write.
Yeah, but they still can't read and write.
We have people here that are coming in 14, 15, 16 years old that dropped out of school in the 6th, 7th grade. And these are children, I mean, these are literally children that are not even out of their teens yet, and they cannot read and write.
This not only includes young people, but it also includes a number of elder people because they never took the time out to get an education, and so that's probably if not one of the reasons, it may be the reason why a lot of us are here.
Now, you got a majority of them that can't read. I say about 70% of them cannot read.
70% of the women in this prison cannot read. Are any of them Monique's age?
Yes. Can't read nor write.
Without an education, you cannot get anywhere in this world. Not anywhere except to be in prison because you have messed up and committed a crime because you didn't have any other way to make any money or get anything. So you take the easy way out.
I have not heard you one time say that I'm here because what somebody didn't do to me or didn't do for me. Why?
It's on me. Whether I make the choice to hang on the street corner, to hang around the wrong people, the wrong crowd, do certain things, that falls on me. That was, my choice. Regardless of whether it led me, I made the decision, the choice to do it. So I can't can't give blame to somebody else for what I decided to do personally.
Where would I be? What would I be doing, and what kind of impact would I have in society if I would have chose to remain in school, to got the proper education that my parents was encouraging me to get?
If you don't have an education, then opportunities and doors are automatically shut. You've already just set yourself to the side of society. And you've really limited the potential that's in you to really be something in life, because everybody was born with a purpose. But if you don't get an education, then you've just cut yourself off, really from living without an education. Chances are you're going to end up in a place just like this or worse, on death row or dead.
Choices that one makes will get you inside the prisons. You don't grow except old. If you die, and many do here, they bring you to Pissant Hill. We talked about what it is you value and what you've reduced yourself to by not receiving a proper education. Pissant.
Some of the most loneliest times that I've seen for these men are at their deathbed, because there's no one around, family members cannot be around, and then at the funeral, because the majority of them, there's no one around except for the other inmates that dug the hole.
These prisoners, they're not getting any special privileges for speaking with us. They're not getting their sentences reduced. In fact, most of them are LWOPs. That means life without parole. But even though they're inside prison for the rest of their lives, they want their message to get out. In the end, they have no hope, except for the hope they have for you.
First of all, I want to apologize to you. And the reason why I want to apologize to you is because I failed you. I failed you. I didn't do the things that I supposed to have been done, as being an individual. I failed you. And I deeply apologize for that. There's many people that have came here, some of my homeboys, those that looked up to me. And they're here. They're here because they lived their life the way that I lived mine. And they're here because of that. Someone's watching you. Someone's listening to you. Even when you think they're not, they're listening, they're watching you. Make sure you set a good example for those that are looking up to you. Make sure you set a good example. I failed my generation. Set an example. Be that example. Don't fail them like I failed mine.
Reach for the stars. You can be anything that you want to be. And not to listen to bad stuff, people say, as adults say sometimes, parents, teachers, siblings, bad, you're stupid, you're dumb, you can never do this. Don't listen to that. Maybe that's what they were told when they were little, and that's all that they need, that's all that they know to say, but that doesn't make it so.
You were born into this world because you have a purpose in life. And the only way you're going to find out what that purpose is to get your education, as much of it as you possibly can, and obey your parents. When you do good, good will follow you. Don't end up in a situation that I'm in right now today. You can make it. but you got to put forth the effort. You have to apply yourself. You have to persevere. You have to go through despite whatever difficulties you may face. Even if you have abusive parents or a stepmother or a stepfather, or you're living with a grandmother or a grandfather, or you're in a foster home, it doesn't matter. Don't allow any mistreatment to stop you from being what God wants you to be.
Don't let anybody ever tell you you can't do what you want to do. You dream big, you hold on to that dream, and you never let it go until you realize it.
A lot of times you're going to feel that your parents, guardians, uncles, they trying to do something that you don't want to do. But you got to always remember, whatever they tell you, they're telling you because they love you. They don't want nothing bad to happen to you. I know you got friends, they want to do this, they want to do that. Sometimes it's good. But if it interferes with your education, if it interferes with you obeying your parents and guardians, they're not your friends.
I can't say enough or stress enough how disappointed I am with myself for not finishing high school. But in a lot of ways, it makes me feel ashamed because I know that it was there for me to learn, there for me to get.
Learning and wanting to excel doesn't bring you down to a lower grade of person that you think that you might be. Being in a gang, trying to show out to your friends and all this stuff, it's not worth it. Because being here is not fun at all. If I would have just stayed in my books like I used to be and hung around the better crowd, the crowd that was going to excel and exceed, I wouldn't be in the predicament that I'm in today. It's better to get a better understanding of learning, reading, writing, all that stuff. Get it all while you can, while it's free at that time. Do it.
Why would they listen to you, Monique? You in prison.
See, that's the point. Maybe if I would have seen somebody in prison sitting in the same seat that I'm sitting in talking to them at a rate they can understand, maybe I wouldn't be in the predicament I'm in now. Now I'm suffering because of one little idiot move that I made. Not thinking. All this, the pain I done caused my family, I can't do it. It's not worth it.
No matter what age you are, to get an education is the key to life, to success, to freedom, to everything.
Why are you tearing up?
Because I want them to have the chance I didn't.
And if I said, Amen, what would you sing?
Sing grace,
How
sweet the sound
that saved
a wretch like me.
I
Was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.